October 17th meeting of the Carleton School District Board of Directors is called to order. We have some special guests here, and I don't know that either one of these two could help with the pledge, but Dr. Cerny, would you mind helping us with the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the secretary please call the roll?
Director Zalewski,
She's not able to be here tonight.
Director Vogliana,
She's not able to be here tonight.
Director Simsic,
Here.
Director Puskar,
She's not able to be here tonight.
Director O'Brien. Here. Director Apple.
Here.
Director Frank.
Here.
Director Honcher.
Here.
Director Schreiber.
Here. There's a moment at the beginning of each meeting where we invite the public to ask any questions on items that are on an agenda for tonight. So does anybody in the public have questions about agenda items right now? There is a time at the end of the meeting where we have open forum for any questions, so we can talk to you then. I'll report that we had an executive session prior to this meeting where we discussed real estate matters and personnel issues. I now turn to Dr. Craig for the superintendent report.
Thank you, President Schreiber. We have several reports here this evening. We have our friends from AHN joining us along with our therapy dogs. So I'm going to turn things over quickly to our children educators and the therapy dogs and allow them to give a brief presentation. I know Mike Leone is also here with us as well from AHN. So Sarah Lauren, I'm not sure who's in the lead-off position. Who wants to? Yep.
All right. Hi, everybody. We're the educators of the three buildings. We're just going to go over a little bit of the data of what we're seeing in the chill room. I'll go through very quickly because I know we are not the star of the show. We are, so that's what we really want to get to. But I'm Rachel. I am the educator up here at the high school.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm the behavioral health educator at Carnegie. This is Doobie.
And I am Sarah. I am the educator at Crafton Elementary, and this is Kobe.
All right, so some things that we're just seeing this year down at Crafton, which is our newest chill room. So far for the school year, we've had 174 drop-ins. We're averaging about 6 kids a day, which for a brand new chill room is pretty good, I would say. I would say Kobe probably has big reasons why we're doing so well down there. But the main things we're seeing for the students down at Crafton is they are coming in for big emotions, which is a term we use in the elementary schools just because those students lack some of the emotional regulation we see up here at the high school. So anything with big emotions is just when our emotions are a little too big, like frustration, anger, sadness, and they can come visit Miss Sarah down there and work through some of that. The second most common reason for the kids coming down is going to be scheduled check-ins. These are kids who have that in their IEP, 504, just an agreement with their teacher who might need a break during the day, just kind of to limit some of those emotional outbursts or behavioral issues in the classroom, so we're able to keep them in class and calm throughout the day. And the last most popular reason down there is going to be peer conflict, so they can come down and figure out resolution to deal with some peer issues or have restorative conversations in the chill room. You can also see we have some other reasons they come down, such as somatic things, overstimulated, grief, family issues, anxiety, all that good stuff. At Carnegie, it's pretty similar. We're in at 187, averaging about 5 kids a day. Pretty much the same reasons we're being seen at Carnegie for scheduled breaks, check-ins with Laura, peer conflict again, and then anxiety is coming in at the third most popular. And up here at the high school, I am at 316 drop-ins. I'm averaging about 9 kids a day. By far, my most popular reason is stress. This includes school stress, work stress, after-school activities, all that stuff, because we know our students are very involved with lots of things. So I'm mostly seeing kids coming down stressed about those work, school, and after-school activities. Overstimulation is my next most popular. This tends to be from the lunchroom or study halls that get a little bit loud. And then I do have students who come down for scheduled breaks throughout the day, and we work through different things there.
I just wanted to share some of the feedback that I've received over the past couple of months from people within Crafton Elementary of all shapes and sizes. So let me just scoot over to see some of these quotes. Marsha Burleson, who is our Crafton administration, said, "The children and our therapy dog Cody have been a great addition to our Crafton Elementary family. They have done an outstanding job at nurturing both the emotional and academic well-being of our students. Kobe has provided an arounding and comforting presence, fostering an environment where our students can flourish and thrive." One of my favorites was in the morning we always greet the students coming in, and I'm with the classroom aides, and my favorite quote is "best new hire ever," and they're referring to Cody, not me. But I'm okay with that. It actually is wonderful. I know, Laura, you probably agree that one of the best parts of the day is the students coming in and seeing the smiles on their faces, excited to come into the building and ready to start their day on such a positive note. I think it's a very rewarding sight to see. One of the third grade Crafton students I see sometimes, "I like the children because it helps me calm down so I don't get mad. When I pet Kobe, it makes me happy." And he didn't want to put this in there, but he says the room smells good too. And another Crafton teacher says, "It's been really great to see how much of a positive impact the chill room and Kobe has had on not only our students, but on the staff at Crafton as well." Many faculty members come in to drop by and say hi to Kobe, but I think it's a little break in their day as well. A first grade parent of a child that I see every now and then has said Kobe and the children have really helped her child through some tough days. And the high school or the Crafton counselor has said Kobe has helped destigmatize visiting the children and asking for help. And I really like that. And it's so true that so many students that probably wouldn't ask to visit the chill room asked to go visit Kobe, and it ends up that some more information comes in, and it becomes a safe space for them. So I like, that term destigmatize, visiting us and asking for some help.
And Laura put together a really nice video showing some of the students at Carnegie interacting with Doobie.
So obviously I could talk all day about the benefits. This is why I wanted to put together something so you could see a little, just so it's authentic.
And I know you had some really, really nice music that goes along with this, and unfortunately it's not coming through. She did a really nice job with the presentation here. But I think what we're able to see is, the interactions, these are the kids, Laura, just coming in from the beginning of the school day. And then there's also some video there of the kids throughout the school day. I think you have some interviews in there too that unfortunately I don't think we're going to be able to hear.
I don't know.
Or if you want to provide voiceover as you just share.
I do welcome you to come anytime because it's heartwarming to hear what they say and to witness the interactions every day, and definitely just to see it in action.
So is there a third dog at the high school? Or is it Tina Kobe or?
There is not, and the students are very upset there. I had a student email me a presentation on why we should have a dog.
Good.
My cats would not like that, unfortunately, so there's no dog at the high school.
I wonder if there's a way to. It is
It's a
really
shame
nice.
because the interviews are
I
great.
can probably email it out.
Yeah, we'll send you, because there's interviews from students, from teachers.
I have a question. So you gave the statistics on how many are visiting the chill rooms, and I know it's been in Crafton or Carnegie longer. Are we seeing, is it leveled off? Is it higher, lower than it's been in the past?
It is increasing over the months so far this school year in all 3 of our buildings. I don't have data for the entirety of last year for up here, but I am busier this year than last school year. I don't know if Laura, you can speak to that as well.
I definitely am. I think it's because they're more comfortable with me now as well coming in. But it's definitely been busier this year. I have running a lot more small groups and just a lot more drop-ins.
I think the data, it doesn't show the amount of groups and push into the classroom. So those are the kids that are coming down unexpected. But you probably see how many kids in general do you think a day? I know for your lunch periods, that's
Including my lunches, I average about 35 kids a day. Yeah.
I would say,
You have like 5 groups a day.
I do. I have a lot of groups and I get big lunch groups,
So most of those you have 5 to 6 students in the
at
group?
least.
And you see about 5 a day. So the numbers are much higher. Those are the.
right now I'm running 2 small groups and we're gonna add another one in the morning. Because Crafton, all of this is kind of new, we're like dipping our toe in slowly. Probably not as many as you, Laura, but
But
we're
it's
getting
gonna
there.
change for you.
Yep.
You have to warm the teacher, we have to slowly and gently educate the teachers as well to the groups. A lot of them don't want to part with students during instructional time, which I completely understand. But over time, they will see the benefits. If they're losing instructional time due to emotional wellness or things that are impeding learning, that's when they'll learn like the
It's
value of you.
necessary.
And I'm a lot busier this year with teachers actually visiting the chill room. So teacher self-care is a real thing, and they are coming in to reset, and I do believe that that will happen too over time as they become more comfortable with you and your role and get to know you.
It's very reassuring, like as the year has progressed, how much of a safe space the room is becoming as we go day by day by day. Whether it's even just stopping in saying, "Can I have a hug?" It's reassuring to know that they know that that room is there for them always, no matter what.
The kids coming out of the war zones in Ukraine and Syria, do you see more of those kids?
I have not seen an increase in that. I'm not sure.
I am seeing more this year than I did last year. Definitely I'm getting a little more inept at Google Translate, and maybe that's why. So, and again, I think the comfort level is different now that they know me. We are starting to get seeing some trauma from the things that are going on right now in Israel. A lot of kids are coming to school talking about things that I don't know if they're obviously being exposed to it in the home or seeing news. So we've been kind of meeting as teams as well to kind of brainstorm and try to be a little proactive and anticipate that we are going to see more of that. Obviously, Carnegie has the highest population.
Keep in mind that the Ukrainian kids had to rush out quickly, and they left their dogs in Ukraine. So they, I think, would really like to spend time with the dogs.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you've come on at the right time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ladies, can I chime in for 1 second? Hi, I'm Mike Lane, I'm the supervisor from HN. I get to visit all the schools once a week, and I oversee Carlington, Char Valley, and South Fayette. So I get to see all the schools in those districts. And in pertaining to your question, one of the things we've seen the chill room be very effective for is serving those underserved populations. A lot of refugees are very hesitant to go into therapy and see a counselor, but they're very, very open to coming to a chill room.
There's a stigma.
And yeah, and we've seen that. It kind of breaks down that stigma, and families of refugees are very, very supportive of the children concept. Not so much, like I said, seeing a counselor or therapy,
Yeah.
but it's a way to serve that population. We've seen that in all 3 districts because all 3 districts have that population and it's increasing. So it's been very successful at that.
I'll make sure we email out the videos for the CP interviews. They're so great. I know they've got a lot of hard work into it.
Any other questions?
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys coming. Thanks for doing it. I got
Thank you
this
for
info.
inviting us.
Thank
And
you.
please feel free to stop in and see, Kobe Doobie, Lori, and I, and Rachel in action, because it's videos can say things and we can kind of tell stories, but seeing it live is really,
It's an open
Rewarding.
invitation, please come. It will be the best part of your day.
What is the breed of Dewey?
Doobie is a golden doodle, so he's a mix between a standard poodle and a golden retriever.
Okay. And Al, there's a mark on the floor that wasn't the dog's. Is that right? It's a drink or something.
Ladies, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the support.
All right, next up we have Mr. Locke from the junior senior high school, just to give an update on what's happening at the secondary.
It's difficult to follow the children, but I became relaxed when I was in their presence. It's actually fantastic to see a K through 12 initiative come to fruition and be a service to the children. So thank you all for supporting those efforts and lifting that off. And a huge thanks to the Pupil Services Department, Dr. Shirley and Ms. Hoffman, for making that happen. At the junior senior high school, we've had a fantastic start to the year. I'm going to kind of focus this presentation in 4 main areas. Talk a little bit about our building focus that we have for the year, some of the professional development that we've started and that we're continuing to maintain through, procedural improvements related to everyday activity in the building, and then the impact to date. That's the basic structure. So let me start with why we're here, and that's instruction and learning. And this year, we looked at, to start the year, we looked at the test scores over the course of since about 2011, we went back and saw some trends that the data showed us. And then we went even deeper and saw that one area in some of our test scores is lower than some of the other areas across the board, and that was in the constructed response. So when you had taken a standardized test, there'll be a component of the exam, no matter what subject area or grade level you're taking, where you have to write what you've read, write about what you've read, or the topic. So that is an area at the building that we're focusing on across every class in the building. All the teachers have come on full board and have implemented constructed response assessments in their units of study. So when I open up PowerScore, if you look at your children's grades as well, you'll see constructed response, and if it's not there, it's in the teacher's student learning objective. Our goal is not to increase the test scores. That's a side benefit. Our goal is to have children be able to synthesize information and then be able to tell their audience what they've learned. That's the goal. The test scores will increase, but our sights are set on a 5% increase across the board in every tested subject area.
Mike?
Yes.
Quickly interrupt. Is the assumption or the hypothesis that the students don't know the material well enough, they haven't absorbed it to be able to recite it, or that when they're sharing what they know, they're not able to articulate it properly? Or is it both?
It's a little bit of both. I will say that some of the struggle that we see is when we get to the constructed response, students aren't participating and completing it at all, so you get a 0. If you put any attempt at an answer down, you're going to get 1 out of 3 points. And it varies a little bit different across the board. So we're looking at this and saying, well, this is going to be a way that our students are going to be able to read a piece of literature or a short piece and then explain what they just read with the information. Great question. So our professional development has been acutely focused on this and preparing it. So there, you'll see these acronyms. Everything's an acronym now in everything. TDA, which is a text-dependent analysis, the constructed response, and a DBQ, which is a document-based question. So depending on the unit or the material, the teachers are using one of these types of exercises. Additionally, Dr. Mantich got us an expert from EdInsight to come in and give us more training on looking at historical information through our data warehouse. Focused on, all right, well, how have our students been performing over the course of time, and where is the specific area that we can emphasize more in the instruction in the classroom. Additionally, another goal that we have at the building is classroom design, to make the environment welcoming. Just like it was nice to come in and follow this lead presentation to the board. So the teachers are small things in their classroom to make it more of a place where kids can feel at a level of comfort. So the studies show that when you have an environment where you're calm, you're going to perform better. The challenge to this is, from all the research that I've read, natural light, air quality, and paint color are the 3 major components that I've seen in the studies. We don't have those, but the teachers are getting creative. They'll maybe turn off one of the overhead lights and put a floor light down. Some teachers have been lucky. Mr. Pater and his predecessor have been able to paint some rooms around the building so it's not all the same eggshell white, which gets a little bit difficult. So I thank Mr. Pater and the maintenance crew for keeping on top of that when you get a big palette of paint colors in rooms. And further, the math department has started a curriculum review process. Mrs. Malabavich, Mrs. Garland, and Mr. Istik today went to the IU for some professional development on increasing learning some strategies that will hopefully boost the understanding of the concepts coming forward. In our data days, again, Dr. Mantich brought in a fellow from the IU that went over CDT is a classroom diagnostic test. It gives you an idea of where the student is right now and what areas you need to focus on to help that child achieve an understanding of the material. And it has a lot of information which can help you differentiate the instruction in the classroom. And then we also had related we had a group meet, the attendance team, which was comprised of counselors, secretaries, administrators, Dr. Surdy, special education teachers, that we looked at the attendance and went through and had the attendance printed out for the first 3.5 weeks and went through each one of them and developed plans for increasing the student attendance, which I'll get to in a moment. So that's the focus for the year, and we're going to continue this throughout the professional development that we have, and also throughout the data days. While this is going on, the programs that we have are expanding. Mrs. Barnes and Mr. Banaszak will kick off the peer mentoring, where the older students mentor the junior high students. Mrs. Mitchell is doing the Best Buddies. The STARS partnership already had the Camp of Champions at Baldwin High School. We had like 30 kids, I think, attend. Tomorrow is a bunch of students are going to countywide disability mentoring day at the University of Pittsburgh. And the common theme throughout these programs is the relationship that you have with other people. Dr. Kreider eloquently introduced this in the beginning of the year as our entire district was together, is cultivating connections to inspire achievement. And these are a few of the things that are coming up right now. And there's also a Youth Leadership Summit on October 26th at South Point. So we're expanding our community. We're bringing more people in that have a vested interest in the development of our children and the students. Here are some images from the Camp of Champions. This is, I think, the ninth year that we've done this. This is heavily on the peer-to-peer mentoring, which is complemented with our peer-to-peer curriculum that we have in phys ed, the arts, and family consumer science, and meteorology. These are kids from across a number of districts. About 193 participate. Partner Up is also in full swing. Partner Up, last year we had 14 students that got interviews. This year we have 26 seniors enrolled in the program. Last year, 12 of the students were offered positions, which is a remarkable percentage. I hope that we can exceed that. Companies that are in the Partner Up program are PNC, 84 Lumber. I mean, you can see them up there. I don't want to read it to you. But and Mr. Canty has led the way in making that a reality for some of our students. Homecoming, if we look at we always want to promote the community and have exciting things and celebrate the successes. I would like to thank Emily Files, the sophomore class sponsor, and Miss Lewis and Miss If, chaperone the dance. But two people in particular that show the uniqueness of our community is Miss Jackie Gamble, Mrs. Gamble, the custodian, chaperoned the homecoming dance. Chief Kennedy served as security, and we did it at Cefalos, local community restaurant. I mean, if that's not showing what we're about, and then the images in the corner there are from the pep rally that we had, which was fun for everyone. Safety in the community. We continue to have our teachers walking around on hall duty, keeping the hallways clear. The Carnegie Police did a fantastic job with the parade and the homecoming events. And Robinson Police have had an increased presence at the school with drive-bys, and they'll stop in and check things to make sure we're safe. At the junior senior high school, we've done our annual drills. We've practiced the fire drill, bus evacuation, reverse evacuation, severe weather, holding place, and the evacuation and reunification at Pennsbury. In the thought that if we have to leave because of a threat. So, additionally, the SAP services, the Student Assistance Program has been one of our strong points for a number of years. But one thing that I was encouraged to see this year, and I think it's it is a compliment to the entire school community, is the number of referrals is at 24. Last year at this time, I think we were at 53. So you could argue, I see a greater sense of calmness and ease among the students. It's not to say that there aren't instances where kids need a little extra support, but it seems as though we're moving in the right direction, and students are in the places where they need to be, and they're getting the services and education they provide.
Hey, Mike?
Yes.
We can assume, or we can guess as to what led to that, but do you have a belief or do you have a thought about why those numbers are down, or what are we doing to help the kids not need us, the services as much?
Well, I think it's I think a lot of it would be, the primary would be the people that are here working in the buildings. And the kids seeing the willingness of the adults that work in the building to provide supports and having a level of comfort where it is a norm. And it's not to say that there couldn't be more. I'm not certain if there could be more referrals.
Are the chill programs helping catch situations
I
before
would
they get to?
100% agree with that. I mean, you saw there were 317 drop-ins. And so the students are learning the skills in the chill room. I'm sure it's effective. I'd also say the mentoring that occurs with the teachers and the kids, that might prevent a kid from requiring more attention. It's a way in which I believe the faculty, the staff address students and are here to guide them. And so that for me makes me extremely proud and humbled to work with people that share in that.
Mike, the
Yes.
truancy this year, how does it compare to last year?
Well, I saved the best for last.
There you go.
We have paid a lot of attention to the attendance this year. You'll see the third bullet point, we're averaging about 15 unexcused absences a day. And you might say, well, 15, that's a lot. With 15 out of 630, Mr. Cozy, I don't know what the percentage of that would be, but 2.5%. Thank you, sir. See, we support each other. Is phenomenal. And I want to take a moment to thank Mrs. Watson, because she is up at the front door, and she has, I can hear some of the conversations when the kids come in late. She'll say, "This is the third time you're late." But it's done so in a manner where she got recognized in one of the teacher appreciation nights by a student that she was helping. That she gives a little bit of tough love, and it's done with the right intent. And then also, we've spent the time in the data days where we have Mrs. Watson, Mrs. Gallagher, Mrs. Cozy, Mrs. Mudd, the counselors, so we're getting more contact to the families, and it's becoming a little bit more systematized to run some of the interventions. Are they all going to work? No, they're not. But we are putting forth a concerted effort to increase it, and I believe that the attendance is much stronger than it's been historically. And I had one more thing that I wanted to say, and it'll probably come to me, but that is the bulk of my presentation. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the start of the year.
As far as the truancy, do you see certain grades that are worse than others?
Sometimes, and I don't have the specifics, sometimes we have a high transiency rate the district. I think the last time I looked, which was last week, there was in the 70s of new students in our building. And when you have 600 and some children, that's a strong portion of it. So many times we see a number of absences when you start at the school. And then it's pairing that child up with a faculty member, getting to know that child, and then saying, hey, do you like basketball? Well, Mr. Trombetta. And then you walk by Mr. Trombetta's room with a new student and say, he's the coach. And, you know, there's a whole method for when the new student is in guidance and you're taking them around the building. Students have also served as student leaders for new students to the building, pairing them up. I just remember, there are two things, another aspect, and Mr. Hunter, I think this is something that you care passionately about, as we all do. We have 2 resource classes for English as second language learners this year. And Mr. Vianis and Mrs. Rosenko are running those classes, providing an additional set of support for English language learners. And they're doing a fantastic job of helping them feel welcomed into our school community.
To follow up on that also, I think the attendance and enrollment data over the summer, I think we had 35 students withdraw, give or take 2 or 3, at the junior, senior high school level, and then we had an increased enrollment of 65. So the enrollment at the junior, senior high school increased somewhere around 30 to 35 students overall. And one of the pieces that we're really starting to take a look at is, especially in regard to attendance, is getting that ability to really dig down into the data more specifically than what we ever have in the past to determine, to avoid some of our assumptions and truly find out the true data to look at what are our subgroups, what are some of the barriers to attendance, what are some of the things that we can do as a district to encourage better attendance. Is that working directly with students, student attendance improvement plans, working with parents as communities and awareness. So we're working closely with the AIU and also through Ed Insight. Dr. Manich is going through it, looking at the capacity that Ed Insight can help us drill down into that data to help glean some of that information that will be helpful in that process. Because in many cases, we make assumptions. They may or may not be accurate. We want to make sure that we verify those and we make decisions based on what that data is truly showing. So in the first 8-9 weeks of school, it's tough to measure where we are attendance-wise right now. It's like Mr. Lockwood said, we can see definitely a trend since last year that attendance is better this year, but we want to find out what are some of those contributing factors and what can we do to encourage attendance holistically as well. So.
I'd like to see that same philosophy applied to the student assistant programs, because it's great if numbers are going down, if that means, like I would not like for that to mean that some people are not being referred when they should be. Like, what are the reasons? So drilling down, I think, is important that way.
Yeah, so Dr. Surdy's working on some of that stuff too.
So for student assistants, I think there's several layers. I think one, we had such high referral rates last year. We got a lot of services put in place near the end of the year that we're still either, they are effective, or we're still trialing to refer again and see if we need to start from scratch. So I think that's part of the process of delaying some of those numbers. Then there's the students that the services have not been working for. So if you look at my evaluation numbers, they're the opposite of that. They are skyrocketing. So they've kind of already gone through our SAP process. If it didn't work, now they're onto the special ed level. So there's just different types of services for those students. And then the other students that are still either improving or we're waiting to see, they're kind of on the waiting list for SAP because we start fresh each year. So some have been re-referred already. And a lot of the ones that have been re-referred are often ones that they haven't been successful. They're coming my way for special ed evaluations to see what we need to do. But also teachers really are being preventive. They're being proactive. I think it's been a really positive start to the year. And a lot of the students are excited about things happening. I'll be interested to see how after these next, I think like Christmas break will give us a real look at these numbers, and I think we'll start evening out and being able to compare better from last year to this year and what's happening. And then in terms of attendance, seniors I see a lot of times. Right now it's not too bad, but as the year goes on, that's probably where we see some of the numbers skyrocketing for truancy, they just are like kind of done with it. That was like last year, I've noticed that a lot in our trends. When I look at the number of 15 a day, if you look about 5 of those students are pretty consistent, the same students. And then the other 10 might rotate with sickness or other issues going on. I think like right now, you could probably say there's a good 5 that we're really targeting from that data, and whether we're doing evaluations or maybe making mental health referrals or trying to get supports through the county to support those attendance numbers for sure. But I would say at this point, when we were in that meeting, I think there was about 5 where Bethany was really having to send out letters, having meetings, and then the other 10 are just your typical, which you would expect for 600 kids, about 10 to be at least out sick. But I do think in terms of attendance, what's been huge is being preventative and having some of these data meetings. What I find as the year goes on, when kids start failing, they feel like it's hopeless, they're not going to be able to pass, so they stop coming. They just don't see a point anymore. So I think with doing these data days and really looking at it right now, hopefully we'll reduce some of that fall off that we see mid-year, because you're just like, there's no point, I'm going to fail. They're hoping to catch them before then.
Dr. Cerny, do you see an increase from the transition to elementary school to the big building?
In terms of attendance?
Yes.
Yeah, I think in the elementary school, one, is because parents often need to send their kids to school because they're going to work. So I think that helps a lot. Kids that are younger, they don't have childcare. So you see the attendance rate a lot higher in that regard as well, whereas kids that are in high school might say they're sick and they stay home. And then also you can't force the kids to always come to school. So I think that affects truancy, is where little kids can kind of like, we're going on the bus, and you put them on. And problems just become bigger. The mental health problems become bigger in high school, the social anxiety and all of those things that can definitely have a hard time.
Surely, we know that you're addressing that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
anxiety Coming up to the building.
It's a lot, and especially
Yeah.
this year. That's what I was just talking with Mrs. Hoffman, our numbers of students with anxiety and that we've been evaluating. It's definitely significantly higher than even last year. So since COVID, each year we're seeing more and more of that still. So, but we have a lot of supports in place, and I think the children's a great avenue for that. And I would like to get a dog. Mr. Lockard to bring his dog.
Dr. Shirley proposed to me, my daughter, she asked me last year to get a third dog. So, of course, she asked me for anything. And I have a mini golden doodle, and I have to ask the boss when I get home tonight if we can make it into a service dog. I have to ask Elizabeth that, Dr. I'm sorry. I want to applaud the collective effort of the people in the high school, the junior, senior high school. You see people pitching in, and that makes it fun to come to work. It's sometimes we're shorthanded, but there's people that are pitching in and helping. And I think that if we can maintain that general feeling among the people that work here, that is the important thing, because then that the kids feel that as well, the students feel that. So that's my report.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a 5-minute report from Mrs. Hoffman.
Limit
This will be short and sweet.
Yeah, no, right. So,
Thank you, Dr. Kruger. Sarah Hoffman, Director of Pupil Services and Special Education. Thank you for having me again. I will say this, it's a team effort. It is not just me behind the scenes. There are 4 administrative assistants I work with, and the awesome administrative team. I appreciate that, and Dr. Kruger's support. We also have Dr. Surdy and our school psychologists, Brittany Underwood and Rebecca Breathwaite as well. Brittany's new to us this year. So it's a team effort to go and figure out what the barriers could be to help to stopping students or preventing them from learning and getting some services in place. So the first one we're going to look at is special education this year. And as Dr. Surdy said, our numbers are up. We are currently servicing, as of today, 271 students that qualify for special education services.
I broke it down so you can see there's 83 at Carnegie, Grafton is 45, 115 at the junior senior high school, and we currently have 28 students that are outplaced at other schools. You might want to ask, what could those reasons be? It's beyond the level of support that we're able to provide within the school district. Sometimes it's the nature of the disability and the severity, I would say. Some students have extreme or severe behavior and emotional problems, but we're also seeing now an increase with students that have, like Dr. Sturdy alluded to, anxiety and depression. The mental health is presenting a large challenge, and we're seeing more of that. And we said, as the older they become, we're seeing more of that depression and anxiety. We're not quite sure why, but we are trying to intervene when we can. We work really close with the Department of Human Services and a couple other local facilities to help provide supports such as partial hospitalization recommendations, which is where they would go in, insurance pays, and they can kind of get assessed if they need medication management. And they're there for a short period of time, and we send the kids typically, if they are approved, to Wesley School. So they're there for a short period of time, come back, and then we monitor them there. Some of the highlights we have going on here is we are committed to complying with laws for IDEA, or Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and the 504 Rehab Act. We are very inclusive, I feel, as a school district. We have peer-to-peer up at the high school, peer-to-peer classes, which are, like they said, the physical education, some of the arts classes they have, and meteorology. And we're looking to possibly expand upon that expand that next year. We do tailored instruction, or individualized and personalized instruction, and we're working together as a team to individualize and think outside the box for some of the students' needs. We do also host ESY programs at Carnegie. I am very proud to say that we host the CHILL, and they do send students from other school districts here. There were about 20 students last year that attended, and we hosted, and AHM provided the staffing. So that was very nice. And then we also have Campaign. We've had a long-standing contract with Campaign. So they also bring students. They have well over 100 students that they bring in from all of their schools. And we host all of our ESY programs out of Carnegie Elementary, on top of our own CAS program as well. We also are, along with AHN, the behavioral and emotional needs. We're really trying to focus in on that and more the preventative measure than the reactive measure. Challenges that we faced, not just for special education, but just across the board, as you know, is staffing shortages. Hopefully after tonight, we will have our special education teacher at the secondary level hired. We still do have 3 paraprofessional positions open in the district. There is an increase in mental health needs across the board. And Dr. Honchar, as you alluded to, we do have more students coming over that are refugees from Ukraine, and after everything going on over there, I anticipate more students coming over from other countries as well. So, we do have there's a wait list for services outside of school. So even though we do have our own AHN therapists here within all the buildings, there is a wait list, not only in here, in district, but also for out district. So it's not as seamless. Everyone thinks that there's a line of therapists, and unfortunately there's not. So it's really challenging. We really try to work with the parents to hang in there and find services as best as we can to help them.
Is Carleton either better or worse than other schools?
I'm going to be honest, we're no better. Yeah, I mean, I talk with a lot of other directors in the area, in the county, and we're all seeing very similar things. So. There's an increase in population and students moving in with high level of need for services. There's been 5 this school year that have come in with a very high level of need. That's not to say we can't service them within the district, but just to be aware that our needs are changing of the students for special education services. And there's an increase, as Dr. Sturdy had said, for the requests for evaluations. That's either through parent request or teacher requests that we see. A lot of the teachers are being proactive. And at the elementary level, we have Title I services for reading and math. And then at the secondary level, we don't have those services. So, what we do is they end up making the recommendation, or sometimes it's even self-referred from the students. They say they need some help. And we work through the SAT process. That's always the starting point for us. Transition services, so those are for students that have an IEP that qualify, that are turning 14 up through their 21st. Actually, it's the day before their 22nd birthday. Now they're allowed to stay in school. And that is looking at preparing them either for education, employment, and/or independent living. And it's not just one area, but all these areas that we focus on. And I am very proud and pleased to share that we have 3 different types of programming right now offered to students. The PAYS Lab here, which is within our school district here at the high school. Ms. Lewis takes some of her students up there. Some of them do receive services in the life skills like support room. Others, they receive learning support services, but this is a starting point for them. And with the PAYS Lab, this is our 2nd year now. They're able to figure out what their strengths are through some of the different tasks, and it might be something such as there's a station if they're independent, and it's self-facilitated, but it's also monitored by the teacher. But they work on like an office area. It might be organizing or alphabetizing. So sometimes that's where the students are. But when they come out of all the different areas, they're able to they identify their strengths. They have work-related skills that they're able to identify. They also can work through, they can problem solve when they're working in a job situation. So it's not just, that frustration where they want to stop and quit. So some of them really learn those soft skills as well on how to, persevere and or ask for help. And the other thing is that they also learn about themselves is if they need help, it is okay to ask, to how to be proactive when you go to an employer. If you're struggling with reading, let them know that you might need something or an accommodation. So that's really good. There's 5 different programs there, and that's kind of a prelude to either Mon Valley Vocational or out to Parkway Center. And Mon Valley has 7 different programs, and Parkway has 16 different programs. So we do send students to those 2 programs if they desire. Gifted is the next area. We have 30 students that qualify for gifted services, but that doesn't mean that Mr. Donovan just works with those students. So we do have an enrichment program, and it's during, the elementary is during enrichment and intervention. Okay, I.E. And so some of the students go to him, or they'll see him, he'll pull them, provide services to prepare for competitions. Same thing up at the high school. You don't just have to be qualified for gifted in order to receive those, I don't want to say receive services, but go and work with them. So some of them, if they're interested, they'll let them know, hey, I'm excited to go on to the Heinz, the History Bowl. Okay, we only have 10 seats. We have 12 kids interested. So he would pull the 12, work with them, and then the top kids would end up moving on. 504, we have 76 in the district. And then moving on to our ESL, which is our growing population. We currently have 145 students. That's the largest that we've had historically here receiving ESL services. Carnegie, they're the only ones at the elementary level that house our program, and we have 87 students there. With that being said, we currently have 20 students that are in kindergarten, and I think we're at 61 students that we are servicing there in kindergarten. That does create a bit of a challenge at times for new students coming in, so I can touch upon that. We've been sending some students over to Crafton for kindergarten because we're just maxed out as far as space-wise goes at Carnegie. And if someone comes in that needs ESL services at the kindergarten level, Carnegie's the only place that can provide those services at this time. The junior senior high school, we have 55 students, and we do have 3 students that are outside of the building that do receive services as well. So you just don't have to come here if they go to that we place them at other schools. We do provide those services for them. Our signage in the building, Mr. Longshire, we've updated it at the high school and at the elementary, so we've incorporated the languages that are applicable at this time. It's forever changing. Our families do speak over 20 languages currently within the district. It's interesting. So we got our work cut out for translation services and for interpreting services. We do have partnerships with Literacy Pittsburgh. They host classes in the evening down at Carnegie. And then we have Hello Neighbor that they can reach out and they can provide services and support for tutoring for some of our English language learners. Student supports that we have. We have mental health services that we send across the district. The therapy dogs are currently at the elementary level. We have outpatient services, and we do have medication management. They come in once a month. They meet with the child in private. The parents either come in person or they call them, and they are able to prescribe medication, and then they're able to get that script. Because sometimes we realize that transportation is a barrier for some of the families to get to appointments. So AHN's been able to bring the appointment to them, which is really nice. We're working on a partnership with AHN and their mobile, Dr. Craig, where they're gonna come in,
For vaccines, the medical?
the medical, yes, the vaccines and that. So we're working with them to see what that's gonna look like. I'm sorry.
We're starting with vaccines and then pediatric
Yeah,
appointments.
so we're meeting as a collective group to figure that out. Student assistance program, like we said, that's across the board in all of the buildings. Nursing services, we do screenings in K, 6, and 11. And then we have the mobile dentist that's available to any and all students. There are opt-out forms, so they don't have to go, but they can go if they want. The same thing with Vision to Learn. And I did get up here at the high school, there were 33 students that were seen by the dentist, which was great. If they don't have insurance, there are grants that they apply to right on the spot that cover the appointments. In Vision to Learn, they screen them. If they fail, the parents are notified, then they have the opportunity to come back, and they also have grants if they don't have insurance to cover, and they can get them right there on the spot as well. Home education or homeschooled, we have 22 students that are doing that currently. We have 0 students on homebound instruction, 24 students that are in our cyber program. We have 6 students that are in foster care and 7 students that are considered homeless at this time. Professional development, we have Patton and we also have the AIU. And as Dr. Kreider said, we are partnering with them to look at some of the data for attendance. We have a bunch of different programming. ESL, our English language services are coming in. They're going to partner with us on Friday to do professional development. There are ongoing, I want to say like monthly professional developments at the IU for various things. One of the focuses I pushed out was trying to get more of the content teachers to go down and learn some strategies and interventions so they can implement within their classroom to help support some of the English language learners. So that's one of the focuses there. And I've actually had some good turnout. So we're sending one from the high school and one from the elementary, actually this Friday. Highlights and next Friday. Highlights and challenges. More inclusivity as a community. We have parent engagement that is increasing. We are getting talking points here, working with Josh Jones on getting the systems to talk, so they can text them or send them an email. They're embracing our diversity. More students are having access to healthcare services, which is really awesome. Some of the challenges I said before was kindergarten enrollment at Carnegie. We can't stop anyone from enrolling. It's been challenging, but we've been working well with the business department and Josh Kutcher in order to get the students transported from Carnegie to Crafton and vice versa from Crafton to Carnegie for our ESL services. There's an increase in our English language learners and the proficiency level of English that they come in with. A lot of them are coming in at the entering level, so very limited to no English exposure at all. Staff shortage, an increase in mental health needs. The population of students moving in has a high level of need for special education services, and an increased number for evaluations. Any questions?
Cheers for your presentation.
I do have a question. The kids that are ESL in Crafton, who live in Crafton,
Yes.
come to Carnegie,
Yes.
could they choose, once they're, that there's no need for ESL, could they choose to stay in Carnegie? Is that possible?
We would probably do that on a
Case by case?
case-by-case basis, depending upon I would say, probably the grade level that they're in.
Yeah.
B, also, just saying, figuring out what's going on, if there's room. If they were 5th or 6th grade going into, if that's all they've known their whole life, to offset the apple cart at the end. But I would be honest, in case-by-case basis.
Because they build friendships
Yeah.
in Carnegie, and you're gonna put them in stress if you take them back to Crafton.
But good thing is, the students we've had that have exited have all been out of Carnegie, so we haven't had to cross that bridge yet.
Okay.
Very good presentation, thank you. Two numbers that jumped up that I'd love to see maybe in a future conversation,
Yep.
longer-term data on. The one was the breakdown of the students. I think you had, with the ESL students, you had cyber students, you had a couple different buckets.
Yes,
I'd be curious what that looks like long-term, and I don't know if we track that.
yes, we have.
I'm curious, and then what do we think, if it's going up or if it's going down, and what's our take on that and why, and how do we think about evolving ourselves to affect those numbers in the way that we want to affect them. And then the last number you just showed that I now forget because I started talking, so I forget. Oh, yeah, that was the one. So cyber and home, people that homeschool their kids.
Yes.
I think those would be great to see.
Those have been going down, yeah, but I definitely can give you that information. Yep.
And then Director Hanshaw, what did you just ask about? Oh,
About
If it's,
kids.
the Carnegie
Yes,
students. So
correct.
the kindergarten enrollment, that would be great for us as a planning tool to think about for next year. We're
Yes.
thinking about next year already, to understand what our existing situation is with the elementary population and how do we make sure that we have enough facility and staffing to cover that. So, cool.
The cyber school
yes,
that you spoke of, that's Carleton's, right?
yes.
Okay, did the numbers go up?
I'm gonna look to Dr. Mantich, but I believe they've stabilized, they're steady. What's,
Well, they're a little bit down because of, it's beginning of the school year, kids come in, kids come out.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a little bit more last year, but the biggest trend I see this year is we don't have any elementary. It's all grades 7 to 12, so there's nobody in our elementary buildings that attends cyber yet.
Well, so if they're leaving Cyber Academy to come back to school, that's great. Or if they're leaving Cyber Academy to go to some charter school, that's, you don't see that.
We're not losing anybody
That's
that
great.
way,
Yeah.
So
But that's
we have
good
that option.
statistic.
Everybody wants their Carleton diploma, so that's the first thing we tell them,
Yeah.
when you stay here, you get your Carleton diploma, you're a regular student in the buildings, you get to go to prom, you get to go here, so they become like that.
Thank you.
The only part of the superintendent's report I'll hit is November 7th, Tuesday, November 7th, that's parent-teacher conferences. We plan on sending information out to staff tomorrow and then also out to parents on Thursday. We'll use Sign Up Genius again for parents to go through and schedule their 15-minute conferences with our teachers. At 11 o'clock to 6 p.m. on Tuesday. Sign Up Genius will be available for all of the parents to go through and sign those up. And we look forward to having great communications with our families. I'll turn it back to you.
Cool, thank you.
I hate to keep focusing on the kids and the parents that speak English, but do you have something in place for this, for the conferences, for the?
Yes, so what our ESL teachers reach out directly to our ELL population.
Okay.
And one of the things they ask is whether or not the parent requests to have a translator, some type of translating services available to them. If that's the case, then our teachers have prepared, they have talking points, which makes it very easy to go, can't say very easy, it helps facilitate that conversation going back and forth between our teachers and our parents. So,
Would you accept volunteers to translate?
we last year, we had requests out. We checked to see whether or not we could get translators in. I don't think we'll turn away volunteers. The challenge with volunteers, though, with that, just if I'm talking out loud there, is just the confidentiality of student information that's being shared would be the challenge there. So volunteers in that particular case, I don't think we'd move in that direction. Other cases, if it's more casual conversation,
Thanks.
and they also have remote translation service. If talking points didn't work, they can call in using TransPerfect and they
Good.
can get an interpreter on the line.
I think, did I hear, or I heard somebody say that it's difficult to get through on the line sometimes, like it's a really long wait when you have to call in?
It depends on the language, to be honest, yeah.
Most of the time when we need Arabic translators, you can get those pretty quickly.
Darby and
The
Farsi.
dialect can be different, which, so then you have to sometimes hang up and try different dialects because the parents won't understand, but there's a few languages that we can't even use Transperfect for because they're such rare, like tonal-based languages. But we've been pretty fortunate that I would say about 90% of the time when we call, it works out, but there's still that 10% that's hard.
Any other questions on the reports? Nope. We can move on to the committee reports. Parkway West, Director Apple, anything to share?
I have a few things. I'll pare it down in the interest of time here, but one thing that sprang to mind, remember Dr. Pryor mentioned the conference on the 7th, is that is also Parkway West's service day and their parent teacher conference, and so I'm sure you guys will work out. You need to work out for the students that want, the parents that want conferences again. So really, the big thing is, as I've said over the last several months, the population out of Parkway West has grown to over 1,300 students and continues to grow. So it's likely we're gonna need to add 2 positions this year. Second teacher in health occupations, and another program teacher. And so what that's going to mean is that, and Keith and Dr. Kreider are already aware that Parkway is going to ask for an increase over the index. That's going to be a 1-year thing only, but just be aware that we're going to vote on that. And you know, it's part of having a good problem, which is that the career tech ed is growing and needs are growing along with it. So, yeah, other than that, I think that's all I have.
Good, thank you. Next would be Director Hanshar.
Jim, I was out of town for that week and I missed it. Our alternate Susie was out of town too. So we have a meeting tomorrow, so I'll try to give you a double report next time. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks. Shazda, Dr. Zalewski's not here, Dr. Kreider.
No update.
Sounds good. And Director Vogliano's not here for legislative PSBA. Anybody have any legislative or PSBA topics they want to bring up?
They had that meeting on the 11th.
Director?
I didn't go to it, but I don't know if anyone has any.
I did not go out.
Funding.
The workshop, on the ongoing workshop.
When you have it, for that.
Well, the state has put a commission together to take a look at the funding formula in regard to how the 500 school districts across the Commonwealth are funded. Currently, we have the basic education funding, we have the special education funding. There's strong advocacy to take a look at that basic education funding and break that up into a variety of different buckets as well. Not just to include the basic education, but also to take a look at other types of funding as well. For example, to take a look at facilities as another bucket to put money into, so that across the board, school districts are treated more in an equitable manner. The fair funding formula, if implemented flat out, there would be some school districts who are underserved at the present time, but it would actually, the fair funding formula would hurt them even further. So they're really taking an intense view at how that money is divided up among the 500 school districts. And that's going to be, I think, a pretty long conversation to get through the unconstitutional methods of the way they currently do it. So
Yeah.
definitely be more to follow
I
there.
think there were three subject areas that they spoke about. They divided the meeting up into, and I know that one of them was career tech ed, and Dr. Copeland testified. And, you know, basically, career technical education is increasing, needs are increasing throughout the Commonwealth, and, you know, it's hard to just keep going back to the sending districts to ask for, you know, more money. And so the idea is to get the state to help out a little bit more with that stuff, because, you know, think about it, the economy of the state benefits from that, especially because, you know, you have a kid that goes for welding or plumbing or you know, health services, that sort of thing. They're more likely to stick around for a career and build a life in the local area than maybe a student goes for finance or something like that in college. So, you know, that's my 2 cents.
Director Simsek, anything for foundation update?
No, I would like to thank everybody who participated in the golf outing fundraiser. It was a beautiful day, so we got lucky that way, and just, you know, everybody who showed up to golf and contributed to the foundation, it's really appreciated. So it was a big success, and we thank all of you for coming and helping out with that. The next big fundraiser is Purse Bingo. So our last foundation meeting, we spent a great deal of time preparing for that. And I will say, you know, members of the foundation really have it down, because, you know, they're just so organized, and it's a very well attended event. I think last year there were like 275 people who came to Purse Bingo. I think this year we're going to cut it off at 250. The last report I had, which was just a couple of days ago, we only had 65 tickets left. So it's, you know, we sold 100 tickets as soon as it went live. They sold 100 tickets. So well attended event. We're looking forward to it. It'll be really nice to anyone who's coming. You know, we appreciate the support. If you can't come, or, you know, it's not your kind of thing, the foundation always accepts donations on their website. So, you know, we thank everybody again. But that's it.
It was a great event. The golf outing was fantastic.
Did you? I heard you going to play.
Jim, were you there?
18 of them. It was fantastic.
No, I was witness though to a, on the 16th hole, a 40-foot chip in.
40. It's 140. Wasn't it?
It started off as a 30. And it was a 75-foot chip. I think more honestly, it was about a 40-foot chip. Hit the flag, drained it. And that, I think, was a birdie for that hole on that one.
Blind squirrel.
Yep.
Every time. That was a great, and the foundation does such a great job. Super event.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So how big was the school board sign? Was it huge?
Same size as everyone else. We were well represented.
Okay, great.
For sure. Any questions on any of the reports? Now we can go into the agenda, the rest of our agenda. Under section 2, previous meeting minutes, there are 2 items there. I'll entertain a motion to approve both of those items under section 2, previous meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under section 4, miscellaneous, there are 5 items. I'll entertain a motion to approve all 5 items under section 4, miscellaneous.
I so moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under section 5, finance, we have 3 items. I'll entertain a motion to approve all 3 items under section 5.
So moved. Second.
We have a move and we have a second. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Under section 6, personnel, we have 4 items, and I'll entertain a motion to approve those 4 items under personnel.
So moved.
Moved and
Second.
seconded. Thank you. Any questions or discussion?
Discussion point on the personnel agenda. We do have 2 individuals with us tonight. We have both Kevin McMurdo with us, and we also have Courtney Caldwell. Kevin has been with us as a student at Carleton. He's a Carleton grad. Recently completed his special education degree and certification. He's been serving in the special education position that is now vacant as a substitute teacher. He went through the interview process, conducted a demonstration lesson, and did a fantastic job. Very well received by our students, and is doing a terrific job. I asked the board for their support in approving Kevin tonight for the special education position at the junior-senior high school. And we also have Courtney Caldwell with us. Courtney is an external candidate coming in as the confidential secretary for human resources, for which she has a wealth of experience and background generally at Kohl's department store, working in the human resources department there. Has a lot of experience that we feel will transition very effectively in and help keep our human resources department moving forward. So I ask the board support on both of those individuals along with the others that are not with us this evening, however, are on the personnel agenda. We have some other great candidates as well.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussions or comments on the motion that's on the, if not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Congratulations, congratulations, thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Any brief words from either one of you, just to say hello?
I'm just excited to begin and just gear up and get started. So,
Wonderful. Thank you.
Glad to have
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. All right, moving on, under section 7, student activities, there's one item there. I'll entertain a motion to approve that item.
So moved.
Thank you, Director Simpson. And a second for Director Simpson's second motion. Jude, thank you. Moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you. Policy services, number 8. I'll entertain a motion to approve the single item under number 8, policy
So moved.
services. Moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Motion carries. Old business. Any director of any old business they'd like to bring up tonight? None. New business. Any director of any new business they'd like to discuss? If not, open forum. Would anyone in the audience have any questions for open forum tonight? None. Any board members have any open forum questions? I'll quickly pause and ask you, there was a question about choral performance. Do we need to discuss that, or is that already taken care of separately?
Taken care of.
Wonderful. All right. Any open forum questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Kevin, Courtney, come on up real quick.